Well, it's the final week of the January transfer window here in Northern Ireland, and it's been a frustrating window for us so far. We've also had a poor run of form off the pitch, but it looks like we're just coming out of that sticky spell now. So let's go and see what we can do against two of the big hitters in the league and whether we can add anyone to this pretty brittle squad. Yes, hello and welcome along to another important episode of this Lifting Spirits Build a Nation save from Distillery with me, Daniel. We are back today for two big home matches against Linfield and Glentoran. We've also got transfer deadline day at the end of a pretty frustrating January. So if you're looking forward to all of that, seeing what we can do and what has been some bizarre runs of form, then please do put a thumbs up on it. I'm going to take you straight over to the transfer centre so you can see that bar youngsters and players may be leaving at the end of their contract, James Convey being a prime example, there hasn't actually been a great deal going on. No players in or out officially this month, and we have tried to get a couple, but again, we've just been priced out of it. In terms of the schedule though, it has been a very interesting month, and despite what looks like a pretty poor run of form, and it has been, because we went 1 win in 6 after the last episode, that brilliant win at Larne, and we couldn't back it up. And then we've gone 3 without a win now, including a loss at home to a lower league side in the Cup. We have been attracting a lot of interest. From League 1 and League 2 in England, we are getting job interview offers galore. Forest Green, the latest of which to do so. They're 22nd in League 1. So it looks like the work that we're doing here is really being valued abroad. In terms of our results on the pitch, I'm not particularly happy. It's worked very differently to last year. The fixture congestion probably caught us out. We might even have a thinner squad than we did last year, in fairness. So since you were with me, we lost 3-0 at home to Portadown. It just made me laugh. That brilliant win on camera against Larne. And then within half an hour, we were 3-0 down. Ben and Gallagher had scored a hat-trick. 3 identical goals in behind. And to be honest, the problem in these recent games, we've had to rotate the defence a lot, and it's shown. We then drew 3-3 against Cliftonville, a game in which we went 1-0 up. We conceded a 95th minute equaliser after clinging on with 10 men following Archie Whitehall's red card. Without that, we probably win the match. We then lost to Portadown again 1-0 at home. The bogey side continues against them. Then a brilliant 3-0 win against Crusaders out of nowhere. Aidan Steele's red card at 0-0 probably aided it massively. McElhatton and Orkin, and then Ben Williams getting the goals for us in that one. Before a 1-0 defeat at Glentoran, a 1-0 defeat at home to Larne. Then thankfully we won the expected game. A 2-0 away at Carrick Rangers, Dobbin and Crow getting the goals there. A big 3-1 win at home to Cliftonville, you'll see why in a minute. McKee got the goal, the man we tried to sign in the summer. But Williams, Coffey and Heaney with the 3 for us. Then at home to Glenarvan, a 1-1 draw. A 95th minute equaliser after conceding a 92nd minute goal. A game we dominated too. And Leon Boyd doesn't score many these days, but that one was pretty important. A 2-1 defeat followed at home to Warren Point. We did have to rotate a lot in this game, and to be honest, the lads were just out on their feet. We'd played midweek every single week from the middle of December, and we just didn't have the squad to cope. Convey got a goal. A 1-1 draw followed against Coleraine though. We scored in the first minute. We almost clung on, but Connor McDermott got a late equaliser, a former Cliftonville hero from FM20. But despite all of that disappointment and just 3 wins in 11 league matches since you were last with me and going out in the Cup, we are still looking good for a top half finish, because Cliftonville, and this is why I say that win against them was so important, instead of being 3 points apart, we are 9 points apart. And if we'd managed to cling on in that game we drew 3-3, it could have been even greater. We get in that top 6 split, we're basically guaranteed a European playoff again, and it gives us an opportunity, albeit another outside one, to try and make it through to the next stage of this save. We're out of all the cups, so we've got nothing else to focus on now. Let's go and get straight into today's 2 games. 2 matches and deadline day is going to be a busy one. And Linfield are playing the first of 8 games in hand. They're still favourites for the title if they win them all, but can we stop them from doing that first up? We love hosting them, 3,000 fans in again. They're bringing a big away crowd to come and see us. And thankfully, due to a bit of rest since the last game, 6 days off, basically a record for us now, we have got the chance to bring some first teamers back in. We've had Curtis Bell out injured the whole time. Lewis Scott has just come back in the last week or so. I'm going to adjust this team quickly, get all the stars back in. We'll be back in a minute to run through it. And here is our side for today's game. We've got a full strength 11 Ben Williams coming back in at centre-half, and only Shea Lucas really coming in for Curtis Bell. If it wasn't for that injury, it would be our first choice team. We've got Ethan Ross in goal, Dobbin and Lucas the fullbacks, with Orkin alongside Williams at centre-half. In midfield, it's Daniels and Whitehall. We've got Barry Coffey ahead of them. And in Latifa and Scott on the wings, with Muckle Hatton struggling for goals a little bit till the last game. He is up front, he is improving, and he's starting to look like a little gem. I should just mention as well, we've got one player on trial because Aaron Jarvis wants to leave, Levingston wants to leave, and we're a little short of quality in midfield. Taylor Hart has come in on trial, wants a little bit too much money at the moment for our liking, but you may remember him. He was at Peterborough Sports in our head coach save when we were there. Had a little brief stint with us, isn't anything special, but can cover left back in an emergency, can play attacking midfield too, decent passer of the ball, and exceptional natural fitness. So that's someone we're keeping an eye on. He might end up coming into us. We'll see how his wage demands change over the next week, but Taylor Hart might be the next addition. Still looking for a centre-half. I hope we can find one. But for now, the rest of the squad's not too bad, and a top 6 finish is on the cards. Well, as we get into the game, I've shamelessly got all the appropriate merchandise ready for if we go a goal up. I've got the time-wasting mug if we need to do that. I've got the sour grape shirt in case they complain in the press conference after. But they have got a super side. Zach Jules we've mentioned before. Darren Mills is a top centre-half. Chris John's still going strong. McGuckin, one of the best strikers in the league. And Joel Cooper and Cammy Palmer, stalwarts in midfield. So let's get through the dressing room. Let's show everyone what we're capable of. We're going to play on the counter-attack. We do it against the top sides. It keeps the score down. It keeps us competitive. And hopefully, it'll keep us in this game. Well, it's been a quiet 11 minutes here. We did have the better of the stats, but now it's a free kick in a very dangerous position. I think we all knew what was going to happen, and it was a post width away from becoming reality. Ethan Ross was beaten, the wall was beaten, but thankfully, the post survives. As Wilson gets the throw on the right-hand side. They're going long here, Linfield. Headed away, but not clear of danger. Thompson on the edge of the box with a shot. Straight down the throat of Ethan Ross. We're very pleased about that, because we would have been in big trouble otherwise. As Ross takes the long kick downfield, over the top. Coffey will chase it, but it's just under hit. Does win the second header, but nobody there. Michael Hatton was already thinking defensively. As Thompson, on halfway, had that shot a moment ago. Now he's back at the other end. And Linfield get it out on the right. They keep the ball well. They just look so confident in possession. And these 4 professional sides, when they're on form, they're light years ahead. It's a simple fact. As Whitehall plays up to Michael Hatton. Doesn't stop us nicking one on the counter. Latifa gets to the byline. 3 in the box. Michael Hatton's won. And he has skied it miles over the bar. I'm not quite sure how. It's a glorious chance. And no shot on target still. And it's goalless after 20 minutes. So we are back in an attacking position again. Nearly half an hour gone. And we're doing all right here. Got a throw by the byline with Dobbin. Latifa knocks it back to Barry Coffey. That one very much was on target. Stunning save from Chris Johns up to his right-hand side. Flew across to tip over the bar. And now it's a corner kick that Daniels will deliver. Outswinger to the back post. Williams up. Headed up more than away. Thompson gets there. Only falls for Williams on the edge of the box. He's robbed of possession. Wins it back. Lovely little tussle with McClelland. It's been an even game. We've hit them on the counter well. They've kept the ball well generally. You can see 70% of the ball. But we're not worried about that. We're keeping the score down. They have got a free kick in a dangerous position though. Palmer from the right-hand side. Not sure that wall's going to do much to stop the cross. Comes into the back post. Mills is up. Good header from Orkin. McCausland brings down on the half volley. That's a stunning strike. There is not a great deal you can do about that. His 5th of the season. 1 touch to bring it down. And smashes it. Rifled into the top corner. What's his long shot rating? It's pretty good in fairness. He scores another goal. He looks a superstar. And at half-time, from a moment of magic, we go 1-0 down. We trail the champions. We're going to tell the lads it's not been good enough. Quite rightly, actually, the assistant says. We have had chances. We've just not been able to put them away. And if we can take them, if Michael Hatton can deliver one, we will manage to nick a draw out of this, I feel. Because they did take a moment of magic to break us down. It wasn't anything sort of mistake-wise or anything from a set piece. As Daniels picks the ball up on halfway to Lucas. Back to Orkin at centre-half. Chance to play forward, gives it to Lucas again. We're keeping it patiently. When we're on the ball, we're making the most of it. And I've got to think about whether we rest players now. We've got 5 days between the next game. Not a bad break now, given what we've had in the last couple of months. So maybe we can get away with it a bit more. As Mackie holds it up. If they get a second, though, We might have to change plan there. Latifa nicks in, but he's in his own half, and Whitehall's been robbed. Mackie gets into the box again. McGuckin's in the middle if he can cross, and that's going to be a good effort. Just wide of the post. It was slightly behind him. He tried to curl it, wrap his foot round the ball. Didn't quite get enough on it, but Linfield on top. We've actually got the better expected goals, but we're not delivering anything at the moment. Lucas really struggling at left back. Encouraging the lads hasn't really worked. And with 20 to go, I'm going to make some changes. Leon Boyd has scored recently. I'm going to chuck him up front. Coffey will be replaced behind him by Heaney. In midfield, there's not too much I can do there, so McDowell will come on for Orkin at centre-half. Dobbin at right-back is struggling. McGill, the model citizen, on for him. And we've got one more. I think it's going to be Scott for Convey, because Scott's still not up to full fitness. More of a settling-in season this has turned into. 10 minutes to go, 1-0 down. We'll have one more big push in a moment, I think. But I'm not sure this is going to happen. Let's go back to positive. Let's try and push for an equaliser. With 3 minutes of stoppage time's gone, Linfield have done what champions do. They've got the goal, a moment of magic, and then they've kept it tight. Didn't really have a sniff second half. They managed the game brilliantly, and that's why they're going to be right up there. Well, fitness test time ahead of the Glentoran game. Curtis Bell still not fit, but I have made a couple of blind offers for centre-halves. We got recommended by our director of football to make a loan bid for Phil Jeffrey. He's at Brighton with no wage contribution, so no harm, but I have no idea what he's like in terms of ability. The other person we've had a look at a little bit closer to home is Ballymena's Mark McDade. He's another one that was recommended on loan, but I don't know what sort of quality he's got. We've got him being scouted at the moment. He's played for Dollingstown. He's been at Ballymena this year, and he is available as a loan option. The problem is, it's an option to buy at the end. It's whether I want to take that up straight away. I feel like I'm going to do it. We're going to suggest the terms. We're going to get both in on loan. And if they're rubbish, well, at least we've got backups and we can release somebody else. So let's go and get through to the fixtures. I've not been able to sell Jarvis, who's transfer listed by request. And now we're at home to Glentoran. Up in third place, Cliftonville have started winning. They're just 6 points behind us. They've got Ballymena today. So we could really do with nicking a little point in these difficult matches. Shane McCartan is the man who's got to be closed down. Lots of changes recommended. Ben Williams struggling for fitness. After this one on Wednesday though, we've got about 2 weeks off. So I'm just going to try and get them through. We keep getting loads of messages about star players being tired. But we're not far away now. Get through these 2 games, then we've got a break. It's an unchanged team. We're not going to rest anyone. Let's see how we get on against Glentoran. Of course, the visitors today are the side that we shocked in the semi-final of the European playoff. Unfortunately, we didn't go any further after that. They've got such a strong side. I don't know how they're not competing for the title. The back four is one of the best in the league. Camps, McCarter, McMenamin, brilliant players. Ali Roy's a good pro. Andrew Bell on the bench is one of the best strikers in the league. We played against him in the third tier. He was at Armagh, I think, back then. Really super player. Our home form's important. Let's make it count. Let's go cautious. Let's try and stay in the game. And hopefully they haven't got the same magic Linfield had. Well, this is what we needed. A nice boring game. 26 minutes gone and no highlights. And we're back as there's pinball in the penalty area of Glentoran, sorry. It comes away to Marshall eventually. And I do worry this might lead to a counter-attack. As Marshall, the right back, comes forward again. Up to Roy up front. Goes all the way back to his centre-half. But they're committing men forward now. And this is where things might get a little tricky. Orkin does well in the air to McElhatton. Daniels looking for that through ball, but the striker's not there. Lucas might do too, to Daniels. He looks for it again, up to Whitehall and Coffey. The 3 in midfield playing well, but then he's robbed. McCartan nicks it to Whiteman. Up to Roy, support on the left-hand side. Play short to Austin instead. Glentoran look like they're going to be on the front foot here. And a big long highlight after nothing. I think we all know what's coming. Marshall delivers, great ball in. And Roy's header is pinpoint to the corner. Reece Marshall started it, and he finishes it too. And we're 1-0 down. It's the same old story. A nothing game, we're competitive. We just haven't quite got that quality. And at half-time, that's probably how it's going to stay. No shot on target, albeit we've had a couple of chances. There's not been any great opportunities in the match. We're going to pump the fist. We're going to say go and get revenge. I might push forward a little bit more earlier in this match, but Glentoran are maybe a more gettable opponent. They're a little bit more fragile in terms of confidence. But players, man for man, they're the best in the league. It's very hard to compete. As Austin goes back to Finlayson, the centre-half. We had him in our Ballymena save, didn't we, on Twitch last year? As Marshall picks it up again to Finlayson. And wide to McCulloch. He carries it forward to Camps. Lovely turn in midfield. That's what we can't compete with. Out to McMenamin, into Roy. Good challenge. Dobbin back to Ross. Long ball downfield. We're hanging on at the moment. We could really do with some attacking intent. I'm looking at the other scores. Cliftonville being held by Ballymena at the moment. That is helpful to us. Whether it finishes that way, I don't know. Coleraine winning at the top. The pro sides are so good. Now let's go and look at changes. I think we're going to take off the tired ones now. Ben Williams will be replaced by McDowell. I'm going to bring Crow on for Whitehall. I'm also going to take off Scott, who's on a yellow and struggling for fatigue. He's going to be replaced by Convey. Latifa will come off with McElhatton to the right and Boyd up front. And then we've got one sub left for a bit later. It'll either be McGill coming on in defence or Heaney in midfield. Which it'll be, we'll wait and see. Well, 25 minutes to go. It's Whiteman with a corner for Glentoran. They're having all the threat here as Boyd just hacks it downfield. No one getting on the end of it. And Finlayson, the centre half, almost puts one in from 35 yards. It's a cracking effort. Somehow misses the target. And I feel like we're going to have to step up now. We're going to go balanced. And I'm going to make the final sub. Daniel's off. Coffey will drop in. And then Heaney will be the number 10. Let's get the new fresh players on further forward. Get them running in behind. And try and be a bit aggressive on the attack. It's headed away by McElhatton, or volleyed in the end. Marshall picks it up in a centre circle. And we're camped in yet again. Whiteman with a clever run. Good ball to Roy. Header hits the woodwork and bounces wide. It is all Glentoran. They've probably dominated more than Linfield did. But now we're going positive. Can we chase it? Dobbin gets it to Heaney. It's a good challenge from McCall. The hoof downfield is deflected. McMenamin chases, but Dobbin gets there first. Now can we restart an attack? Can we finally have a shot on target? Can we do what the AI normally does and score our first one? No, the switch of play is awful. Marshall gets there first. Convey chases him but can't lay a glove. Convey incidentally rejected Crusaders. He's not going to be making that move. Through ball downfield straight to Ethan Ross. It's one of those long highlights. Let it lead to one of those attacks and let it be an equaliser. McElhatton to Crow. Down the channel to Heaney. Fresh legs in the middle. We've got to find Boyd. Boyd takes a touch. Thunders it into the top corner. Got a little bit lucky. It bobbled around off the defender. And it's Reece Marshall who missed the challenge. And late on, we nick a point against Glentoran. A really good result at home. Leon Boyd still popping up when it matters most. And I think Cliftonville drew 0-0 as well. So our push for the top half, it very much continues. Well, it's not quite deadline day, but we've got the end of the trial for Taylor Hart. And we're being recommended to offer him a deal. But those wage demands are currently a sticking point. Let's approach to sign him. Let's offer him a regular starter. He's probably not, to be fair. I'm going to ask him to be an impact sub. He's happy with that. What are your wage demands? Okay, I think we're going to be able to get this down a bit. Let's go for 220. We're also going to push the signing on fee and the agent fee down. The agent dislikes me, which isn't a good start. I'm hopeful we'll be able to get this over the line. We'll go for 60 quid appearance, 35 there, 30 there. And he says 250 a week. You cheeky boy. The agent fee is going up again. I'm going to push the others down. Let's see if he takes it. He does indeed. So we might have 3 deadline day signings. And he is the only one that I know the standard of. Through to deadline day tomorrow. Those 2 loan signings. I hope they come in as well. And here it is. 8 AM on deadline day. Couple of youngsters getting offers. We're not too worried about that. Most of the squad apparently needs a rest. After Wednesday, they can have a very big one. Let's just offer out Aaron Jarvis. He is transfer listed by request. He's really declining. And a lot of you were right in the comments. Maybe I shouldn't have offered him a new deal. Levingston wanted to go out on loan. I'm tempted to offer him now because we don't really have any fixture congestion after this. So 110 quid a week would recoup, what, half the money for Taylor Hart? And if we get rid of Jarvis as well, we actually make a profit and get the same player in replacement. So those 2 would be the ones to go out. The other 3 we're trying to get in. So let's just see what happens. There are 16 hours to go. Well, surprise in the morning. Stenhouse Muir are the club to come in for Darragh Levingston. Happy to accept that. If he goes off to Scotland, he might actually improve his reputation. He's out of contract in the summer, so good luck to him. I mean, he's been key to us. He was brilliant in the 3rd tier. He was very good in the 2nd tier. He's just not a top tier player. Back at 11:15 AM for mixed news in terms of centre halves. McDade has rejected the loan offer to join us from Ballymena United. He is not really available at the minute. We'll keep the scout report going. Topku, who played a few first team games back in the day, mainly in the cups, he's off to institute the youngster. But Phil Jeffrey, the man we know nothing about from Brighton, we're basically taking him on David Jeffrey's recommendation. Actually, I'm a little bit suspicious now. They've got the same surname. I'm checking there's no relation. We can't even find that out either. No wage contribution. It won't harm us either way. I just hope he can make a difference. Well, sometimes you have to gamble, and I still don't really know if this is going to pay off or not. He's 2.5-star ability, massive potential, and he'll be a full-time trainer from where he's come from. Kofi Orkin is the man who I'm looking to replace. I just want him to be adequate and a bit quicker. Let's see if he is. Phil Jeffrey, very similar type of player actually. Very aggressive, very brave, big in the air, 6'1", strong. He's good in a tackle as well, in fairness. I would argue he might be slightly better. Let's do the comparison wheel with Kofi Orkin at centre-half. Very similarly rated. And to be fair, bar mentality and aerial threat, I'd argue that Jeffrey's slightly better. The attributes, physically, you can see it's mix and match, but he's a little bit quicker. You can see technically he's very much better. And mentally, he's nowhere near as good. So it's one of those little things. He'll get football for sure. And it's certainly not a bad signing for no wage contribution. Kofi Orkin, welcome him to the club. Now we just wait on Taylor Hart. Will it get done before the end of the day? Yes, it will, is the simple answer. 2 other youngsters reject moves away, but Taylor Hart will join us in centre midfield. Looks like Levingston's going out the other way on loan. I'm really pleased with that signing. Taylor Hart for 250 quid a week. Wasn't great for us in the head coach. That was over at Peterborough Sports. But in this save, I think he might be a good substitution. And to have him on the bench, to have him available as a squad option, gives us real versatility and real depth. And there he is, 2.5-star ability, probably will be a decent playmaker. He's good on the ball, certainly better than the other 2 we've got. 3.5-star potential is massive. Let's get him registered for this squad. It gives us some real depth for the rest of the season. We've got to improve the squad as well as the first team. And this signing, as Kofi Orkin welcomes him, is one that will do just that. 12 hours to go, not much else to happen. It's just whether Levingston goes and we can attract any offers for Jarvis. And the first box of that is ticked just 45 minutes later. Dara Levingston, 110 quid a week. He is off to Stenhousemuir on loan. Still no interest whatsoever in Aaron Jarvis. We're going to offer him for nothing again. We've tried offering him on loan. We've not really got any responses. He's someone who, probably because of his wage as well, just can't attract an offer from that second tier level. He's got a year left on his deal. He's requesting to leave, so I might try and negotiate for him to leave the club on a free. We'll leave it till near the end of the day. We'll cross that bridge if we need to. Well, 10 p.m, Crusaders have come in for James Convey at the end of his contract again. He's rejected them again, and Jarvis isn't getting any offers, so I am going to try it. He wants to leave the club. He's requested to leave, so let's just offer him a mutual termination. Let's see what he agrees to. The board are blocking it. We've not got enough transfer budget, but you've made loads of money, haven't you? So he's going to be staying regardless. It's 10 o'clock. There's nothing else happening. Let's confirm the end of the window and see when we're going to be back. So let's go and get to the schedule. The transfer deadline has passed, the squad can be confirmed, and the finances have shot up thanks to those 2 home games. But when are we going to be back? Because if we go down, there are 5 games left before the league split. I think I should probably show the last one and maybe the first one after the split too, because it looks like there might be a European playoff on the way, so I don't want to make it take too long. So 5 games to go on that front. The title race will hut up as Linfield play their games in hand, but it does look like we might be on course to record our first top half finish, and that man Sean Daniels, top assist maker in the league, is becoming a big part of it. The transfer window, just to confirm the finish, we'll leave it here. 2 players in, a blind loan which worked out, and a player we've managed in our other save on a free agent deal. Levingston leaves, a couple of youngsters go too, but nothing bank breaking so far. We'll save that for the summer. If you did enjoy this episode, please do chuck a thumbs up on it. Let me know what you thought of the late equaliser against Glentoran. We're competing against the top sides, but the pros, they're just too good and they're just too fit. We'll be back in a couple of days' time to find out who we've got in the league split. In the meantime, we had an absolutely massive finish to the head coach season yesterday. You can find that up in the eye above. It is a classic, probably the most dramatic Football Manager episode I've ever recorded. And tomorrow is going to be a big one as a result too. So check all of those out in the eye above, as well as the clips from my trip to Boreham Wood on Saturday in the FA Cup. All of those up there if you've missed them. And above my head now is yesterday's head coach. It's certainly one not to miss. I hope you enjoy it. And I'll see you back here in a couple of days' time for the league split with Distillery.